So Fox Business Network flipped out at Mark Zuckerberg because he surprisingly voiced the opinion that nobody deserves $1 billion. Now he's worth like 60 or some odd $1 billion, something like that, 65-ish. I love how at a certain point you literally can say like, give or take a few billion. Give or take a few billion. Like, no, the difference between 65, let's say he's worth like 67. The difference there is like, he has $2 billion more. $2 billion is so much money. This is the point that we're at, man. This is the point we're at. So, to his credit, he voiced the opinion, hey, nobody really deserves $1 billion. Like, that's a little bit silly. Who are we kidding? We have people who are like starving and this is insane. So what follows here is Fox Business chastising him, but then also kind of slipping up and showing everybody their true colors just a little bit too much.
Let's bring in Steve Forbes, Forbes media chairman. What do you make of this? Another one of those people who's going to pull up the ladder behind him.
Well, it's amazing. A lot of these people, they make it, they create great companies, and then they feel guilty about it. He doesn't have to feel guilty. That money will be put to work. Rich people may be idle, but their money is not. It's invested, starting new businesses. He's talked about philanthropy. He can take a model of the Gates Foundation, which has literally saved hundreds of thousands of lives in Africa, Asia, and elsewhere. So there are plenty of good things to do. And you can't do these good things without resources, what we call capital. That's what makes the system work and enable people to get a higher standard of living.
Yeah, it might have to do with PR without question, because if you look at Mark Zuckerberg channeling his inner anti-billionaire, it might have to do with Elizabeth Warren, who called him out at a campaign event in Nevada. Listen to this one.
What we need is a president with the courage to enforce the antitrust laws, break them up. And yes, Mark Zuckerberg, I'm looking at you.
So when he says, nobody deserves to have this much money, is he helping himself with her, playing into her hands?
You never appease demagogues or critics by being defensive. Make the case of what you've done and what you're going to be doing in the future. Because I'd rather have Mark Zuckerberg, for all of his flaws, investing my money than Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, or Joe Biden, or these other people.
Right, Elizabeth Warren, who's never done, produced, made anything in her life. She's only been, she's been a professor. She's, made a fortune on a college campus, and then she's been in office. Mark Zuckerberg has met a payroll. He's dealt with ups and downs. It just is astonishing to me that he would be kowtowing. At the same time, for her, Zuckerberg and Sandberg for that account are really unpopular right now. So making them her whipping children kind of makes sense. Yes?
Well, yeah, they always have to find villains. The Democrats don't have much to go with except higher taxes and government running everything, which we should have learned from the Soviet Union does not have a good end.
Oh boy. Okay, so you don't need to find villains when they're already there. You don't have to look. They smack you in the face. So, for example, for-profit health insurance companies getting rich off of people's sickness and misery, and also, under this system, up to 45,000 people die every year because they don't have access to basic health care because of the profit motive, because of the disincentive structure in the system. So we're not searching for villains. We're just pointing it out and going, oh, that's a villain. You don't have to search for the military-industrial complex to be a victim. They're a victim, excuse me. Hilarious. Not victims at all. Villains. They are villains, and they are creating victims. Okay, so as a result of the military-industrial complex, we have 8 wars going on right now. So don't tell me like, oh, you got to search for villains. No, we don't. They're there. Wall Street is there. Rigging the economy in their favor, buying Washington to bias everything, where they make all the money, they take none of the risk, they crash the economy like we saw in 2007, 2008 with the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. We're not looking for anything. They're there. And then we're pointing them out and going, oh, look at that. That's kind of messed up, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And he says all they have is to run on that and like higher taxes. Well, why are you... that's purposefully misleading because, like I've told you guys a million times before, take Medicare for all. Under our current system, you're paying a private tax. Just the tax is a premium, a copay, and a deductible, and you're paying way more and you're getting less. So we want to eliminate that, raise public taxes, give you Medicare for All, which gives you more coverage for less money, so you save money. So Medicare for All is a tax cut. Effectively, it's a tax cut. So when we talk, oh, they want to raise taxes, well, no, what we really want to do is have Medicare for All, have free college, eliminate student loan debt, eliminate medical debt, and you do it in a way where there's a redistribution from the rich to the poor and the middle class. Now, does that mean that we're going to say, hey, if you're rich, you're no longer allowed to be rich? No, you're still going to be allowed to be rich, and you are going to still be rich. But are you going to have $100 billion, $150 billion like Jeff Bezos? No, we're going to tax your ass. And you know what? You ain't going to do shit about it. You're not going to do anything. What are you going to do? You're going to move somewhere else? No, you're not. You're not going to go anywhere. You want to know why? Everybody wants access to the U.S. market because it's a very lucrative market. So the idea, all the rich will flee if you crack down on them too much. No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't. By the way, we already have a progressive tax system in the country in the sense that the more money you make, the higher tax rate you pay. So do we have no rich people now? Because they pay more than poor people as a percentage? No, we still have them, right? So we're talking about raising those rates a little bit. Nothing crazy. It's all going to work out, buddy. Relax. Calm down. Breathe. It's okay. I like how they said, oh, he got rich and he's pulling up the ladder behind him. Pulling up the ladder behind him because he thinks billionaires are egregious. People, if you have $2 million, $3 million, you're wealthy. But if you have 70 million, 80 million, 100 million, you're phenomenally wealthy and you won't even know what to do with all your money. If you have $1 billion, 100 million, 10 times, and you're gonna whine, why can't I have more than that? More than this. Oh my God, whiny little pricks. He says, make the case, don't be defensive. But that's the thing is like, maybe he actually believes that having billionaires is messed up. Like he's framing this in a way of like teams, like you're on team rich. Why don't you just like hate everybody else? Well, that says a lot that this is how you're thinking about it. Because maybe he just sincerely believes, you know what? I don't know about all this, bruh. I don't know about all this. I think maybe having billionaires is a little crazy. So why can't it just be a genuine thought? Why can't it just be, something he's thought about? Something that, by the way, is true. Like, we live in a system where about 80% of workers live paycheck to paycheck. Half of workers in this country make $30,000 a year or less. We have 500,000 homeless people. In that system, where we also have so many billionaires, there's a little bit of a problem there. There's this giant imbalance that's not okay. Now, you could say, oh, well, my wealth doesn't lead to anybody else being poor, but that would be factually false. That's an old, libertarian and right-wing talking point. My wealth doesn't make anybody else poor. Yes, it does. There's a finite amount of wealth in the world. Okay, you following along? Finite amount of wealth. So that has to be divvied up in some way. And when you have, the sixth richest people on the planet have more wealth than the bottom 50% combined? Again, when you look at America, you have one family has more than 45% of the country combined. The Walton family has more than 45% of the country combined. It's a choice. It's an economic and political choice to have the wealth distribution that out of whack and to have the power distribution that out of whack, because really that capital is power. So they can buy the government. It's a threat to a democratic system functioning when you have wealth that can tip the balance of the system that much. It becomes undemocratic and unrepresentative. So yes, there's a finite amount of money in the world, and there's a finite amount of money in the country. It has to be divvied up in some way. So by definition, somebody's massive wealth does impact other people being totally poor. It does. And that's why redistributive policies, we already have a bunch of redistributive policies. They just don't go far enough. So everybody believes in redistribution. It's just to what extent do you believe in it? If you believe in having cops, if you believe in having a fire department, if you believe in having Medicare and Social Security, if you believe in these basic things, you believe in some level of redistribution. Even most hardcore libertarians, they say, well, obviously we need cops to protect individual rights. Obviously we need a court system, to determine somebody's breaking the law. That is a form of redistribution. That's what that is. We're going to tax people, take some of the money, and then we're going to put it towards this. So everybody's in favor of redistribution. It's just, where do you draw the line? How far do you go? What do you tax? What do you fund? These are all the basic, fundamental, foundational questions of how you run a country, how you operate a government. So and the final point is, they say she's never made or produced anything. That's what they said. And this is what I mean when I said at the beginning, oh, their true colors are showing just a little too much. Because never made or produced anything is the mindset. Oh, she never met a payroll, so she's never made or produced anything. Elizabeth Warren, for all of her flaws, and she has many, well, yeah, she was a professor. Does that not count? And this is what they're showing to you. They're showing, although they don't count. These types of people, professors, I mean, that's like, you're not producing anything. You're not really giving anything of value. So that doesn't really count. This is the mindset. She was the brainchild. Is that a word? I don't know if I've ever heard that before or used that before. But she came up with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, prodded Obama to do it. It was part of the Wall Street reform, and it ended up returning $12 billion to defrauded Americans. I know I was one of them. So that's what she did. She returned $12 billion to the American people because companies were ripping us off, lying to us, committing fraud. She created a government agency that worked for the people and against corrupt, greedy financial interests. That's what she did. That's more successful than like almost anybody, okay? That is a major, major, major accomplishment. But that doesn't count to them. Because, I don't know, you never met a payroll and you haven't produced anything. That's producing justice, is what that is. And that's a hell of a lot more than we could say about any of you.